Go ahead, Roger. Yeah, the guys would like you to stop drilling right now. Let's pull the rods out, let's clean out the filing, make sure everything goes in a bag, and see what we can see. Stop everything. Rick and Marty Lagina just got super rich on their latest Oak Island episode. They found some amazing stuff near the famous money pit. I know this is really quite uninspiring. Yeah, really is quite a trip back in time. It's pretty amazing. Each thing they found, shown off by Scott Barlow and cheered by Alex Lagina, leaves us with more questions than answers. Their search gets scary when tunnels start collapsing, pointing to dangerous things hidden below. What else could be down there waiting in this newfound treasure? Who's been enamored of this? Explore with us to find out what remains buried deep. Another week, another clue. This time, the narrative introduces another additional week of exploration. A phrase that regular viewers might find overly familiar. It suggests that something big is just around the corner. Yet, as always, that breakthrough seems to stay just out of reach. Scott Barr's contemplation over the lack of structural findings in a newly explored underground area adds to the skepticism, making one wonder if there's anything significant down there. After all, despite the initial excitement, the story soon hits a literal roadblock. The part of the tunnel they were exploring collapses. This setback is paradoxically both disappointing and intriguing, as it raises more questions and ensures that viewers will return hoping for more clues. Marty Lagina's insistence on examining every nail and board might come across as thorough to Sue or death desperate to others. The team's approach, continuing to excavate to uncover more tunnel sections and using carbon dating to determine their age, seems scientifically sound. Yet it feels more like a tactic to stretch out the show than to actually speed up the discovery process. Lagina and Doug Crowell are excited about the significance of their latest find. Doug and Lair date the boot to 1908-1909 sort of changes in import to me. Now we want to proceed because it ties with Doug's awakening to that possibility that we're digging in the shaft. That Rosil, a sentiment echoed by Rick. Lagina's serious talk about the importance of gathering all possible data. However, these repeated affirmations begin to feel empty when you consider how little they've actually managed to reveal about the island's past. The introduction of Doug Simmons, who brings up connections between the Knights Templar and Viking on Oak Island, adds a layer of historical allure. His theory that these two groups might have worked together centuries ago on the island is fascinating and adds an almost movie-like quality to the show. Although it's based more on speculation than solid evidence, the discovery of a piece of ancient ship railing and a copper coin could be historically significant. These items, possibly linked to the 8th century and somewhere between the late 1400s and mid-1700s, effectively add intrigue to the tale. However, they seem to be used more for their ability to create a good story for TV rather than their archaeological value. As the seasons go by, the hunt for treasure seems to turn more into a drawn-out tease. Examining old nails and timbers, believed to be from the 1600s, is certainly an exciting endeavor for any archaeologist. However, the way the show presents these findings often leaves one wondering whether the goal is to uncover historical truths or just to keep a successful TV show running. Each piece of potential evidence, be it related to the Templars, Vikings, or ancient underground constructions, is carefully picked to maintain the narrative tightness and ensure that the audience keeps coming back, always hoping that the next episode will finally reveal all in the complex web of Oak Island. Each discovery, no matter how small, is portrayed as a crucial clue, possibly leading to a major find. The constant hints at connections to ancient civilizations and significant historical events keep the tale compelling, even if actual progress is slow. This method keeps the story going and the viewers guessing episode after episode, as the team digs up just enough to fuel speculation and maintain interest, but never enough to conclude the tale. Let's dive into new mysteries and theories about Oak Island's past Viking legacies. In Newfound Lands, Doug Simmons has put forward a rather bold idea that may raise some eyebrows. He claims that the Vikings, known for their raids and explorations, were not just wandering around North America, but actually setting up settlements around the year 1000 AD. He bases this on the findings at Ullo Meadows in Newfoundland, suggesting it as a critical piece of evidence that these northern warriors had long-term land in the region. Symonds weaves a curious narrative that connects these Vikings with the Knights Templar, a group known from the Crusades who were deeply interested in holy relics. These Templars reportedly started their order in Jerusalem in the early 12th century. According to Symonds, it's possible that the Templars and the Vikings might have collaborated. He even suggests that King Sigurd of Norway, around 1177, might have played a role in moving treasures to Oak Island with Viking assistance, though this idea relies more on an intriguing notion than solid proof. All of them must perish, must die on the island, and that 7 people must die, and then the treasure will be revealed. All of the Oaks currently are dead, and 6 people have tragically perished in pursuit of the treasure. To back up his claims, Symonds points to various findings on Oak Island, such as Nolan's Cross, various large stone structures, and a well on Lot 26, which are all dated to the 13th century. The recent unearthing of 2 late artifacts that traced back to Scandinavia are used to bolster his theory, implying that these items might have been brought over by Vikings. As the excavation team digs further, they find what they believe to be additional indicators of a Viking presence. During the medieval times, they discovered a piece of a ship's railing dated to the 8th century and earlier findings of ship wood dath between the 15th and 18th centuries are highlighted as evidence of Norse visits to Oak Island around the year 1000. Each discovery is treated with great excitement, suggesting a major breakthrough. Although some might view these conclusions as a bit too convenient or speculative, the team's focus also turns to a rectangular foundation found on Lot 5 since the purchase by Marty and Cranky Mermaid. Excavations there have turned up pottery and piped stems that date to the 18th century, but a copper coin found in a deeper layer showing a green patina suggests an origin even earlier, which might suggest a different timeline for the site's use. While this coin is fascinating, it opens up more questions than it answers regarding who built the foundation and why. On another part of the island, Lagina and Helen Sheldon, 2 of the archaeologists, are examining the so-called money pit. They find a wall on Lot 5 that may give clues about its original use. They meet with Carmen Legg, a blacksmithing expert, and Emma San, an archaeologist, to examine 2 metal objects found in a tunnel beneath the garden shaft. These objects could date as far back as the late 1400s or mid-1700s, adding to the intrigue of the site's complicated past. A carbon dating analysis provided to the team suggests that the tunnel beneath the garden shaft could have been created 150 years before the money pit was discovered, introducing a new layer of complexity to the site story. Meanwhile, as they continue their excavation near the southern boundary of the marsh, they uncover a wooden building. This raises the possibility that this structure might have been part of a larger plan to hide something valuable a long time ago. I think we found an avenue of continued search or research. Then you can start connecting the dots between Portugal and Oak Island. The team also investigates the relationship between an ancient stone road and a wooden structure they found on the island. Darjarian Spooner thinks that this feature could be a 500-year-old platform used for loading and unloading goods connected to the nearby stone road, suggesting a long history of activity at the site. The story thickens with each unearthed artifact, hinting at ancient secrets. Templar treasures on new shores. The stories of Oak Island are filled with intrigue and suspense, with each discovery woven into a larger tale of hidden treasures and alleged ancient collaborations. While the excitement of treasure hunting certainly makes for compelling storytelling, one might pause to consider the blend of historical facts with the appealing narrative of television drama. The draw of potentially uncovering hidden treasures often seems to push the narrative towards connections that may not be as clear-cut as presented, leaving much room for debate and further investigation in their quest to discover more about Oak Island. Rick and Gary found 2 red gemstone brooches on Lot 21 in the same year. These brooches support the old stories that the island may once have been a hiding place for a large cache of treasure. The team is excited about these finds and plans to have the jewels examined to learn more about their origins. And if they are related in any way, this will be our only first time underground in the Money Pit. So we better enjoy it. They also carried out seismic scanning in the Money Pit area, hoping to find more hidden gems below the surface. As the day wound down, the team gathered for a presentation by Doug Simmons, a retired psychology professor who is fascinated by the history of the island. Dr. Simmons suggested a connection between the Vikings who reached North America in the 11th century and the Knights Templar during the Crusades. He hypothesized that the Vikings might have helped the Templars hide treasures on Oak Island. Marty and the rest of the team listened as Dr. Simmons linked the Viking explorers with future Knights Templar. They discussed this idea and the intriguing possibility that the Vikings influenced the Templars and Oak Island. Dr. Simmons talked about King Sigurd's journey to Jerusalem and his interactions with the early Templars. He speculated that Vikings in the Holy Land might have affected the Templars' actions, and by extension the history of Oak Island. In the war room, Jack Begley and Lagina showed interest in examining this idea further. Dr. Simmons supported his theory with evidence of Viking artifacts and structures found on the island, suggesting that these finds could relate to Templar activities. Meanwhile, Rick, Gary, and Billy explored the southern part of the swamp. Driven by Dr. Simmons' theories, they focused on wooden relics, some possibly from old ships, which could be hundreds of years old. Motivated by the possibility of proving a historical theory, they examined these pieces, hoping they might relate to the broader narrative of the island. As the excavation continued, they found more intriguing items, prompting discussions about their potential importance. Rick advocated for continued exploration to uncover more about the island's past. Billy, Gary, and Steve then discovered another part of what could be an ancient ship, adding to the artifacts they had found in the marsh. Steve suggested that a recently discovered piece of wood might be from the same time as a ship railing found in 2020, possibly supporting Dr. Simmons' theory of a Viking visit to Oak Island years ago. Despite the ongoing discoveries and theories, the true story of Oak Island remains unclear. The island continues to be a source of fascination, not just for what might be buried there, but also for the stories and hypotheses it inspires. Each new find adds to the narrative, urging the team to keep looking and piecing together the history of the island. This ongoing search highlights the team's commitment to understanding the island's past, driven as much by their hopes and dreams as by the physical evidence they unearth. More discoveries pull us deeper into Oak Island's intriguing history. The quest for Oak Island's hidden secrets, the exploration of Oak Island, is as much about the journey and the excitement of discovery as it is about the historical truths they hope to uncover. Each member of the team brings their own perspective and expertise, contributing to a collective effort that stands beyond simple treasure hunting. As they dig deeper and uncover more, they are not only chasing after possible treasures, but also weaving a rich tapestry of historical speculation and genuine curiosity. It's very plausible, it's enticing, it's interesting. What it says is there are answers in that swamp, and we need to get to the bottom of it. This blend of history, adventure, and exploration continues to capture the imagination of all involved, promising more discoveries and discussions in the days to come. In another episode filled with hope and historical guesswork, Rick solemnly acknowledges the importance of understanding the stories held within the new artifacts they find. His brother Marty, along with a hopeful team, continues to dig into Oak Island's intriguing land, driven by earlier discoveries like ship railings. At the same time, Steve and Gary Drayton, possibly more motivated by the thrill of television drama than true archaeological accuracy, decide to pull up some interesting pieces of wood, which might not lead to any substantial historical findings. While Steve and Gary explored, Jack Begley assists archaeologists Laird Nean and Helen Sheldon in examining an old foundation on Lot 5. Their work overlaps with Billy, Gary, and Steve's ongoing efforts to dig through the swamp, a place as full of old objects as it is of mud. Among their findings are Roman coins and pottery, which Rick suggests might date back to the 18th century, adding an old-fashioned touch to their discoveries. When Helen Sheldon finds a copper coin, it sparks more guesses about its ancient origins, encouraging further exploration into who might have created this feature and their backgrounds. Helen's discovery receives praise from Jack Begley, who is as convinced of its importance to their sponsor, Marty Lagina, as he is of any link to the legendary treasure. Nen's growing excitement about the potential importance of their site seems to mirror the episode's increasing drama as they sift through each shovelful of earth with great anticipation in this ongoing treasure hunt that feels more like a historical drama series. Marty eagerly engages in discussions about another coin they found from the 1980s. Helen's theory that the feature might be an old cellar that's now filled with water adds more excitement to their discussions, raising questions about its origins and what it was used for that seem as deep as the holes they are digging. We have all kinds of emotions running through us. Bottom line is we're radically changing the search agenda. Now we're going to go looking for what's underground by being underground. That's pretty cool. During these explorations, the discovery of a large iron spike in the stone foundation introduces new uncertainties about its purpose. Marty, always dreaming big, wonders if this structure might be connected to the notorious money pit, rather than being just a simple household structure. Helen plans to look into the metal of the slim iron spike, adding another layer to their extensive investigations. Marty, perhaps viewing Helen as a lucky charm, encourages the team to keep looking for old objects. The next day, Rick, Lag, and Gary Drayton share their excitement over findings in a possible treasure tunnel, suggesting a continuous loop of anticipation and suspense. Carmen and Emma analyze the artifacts with advanced scanning technology, suggesting that one might have been used for fastening a chest or hanging a lamp. Simple uses, yet every discovery is woven into a grand narrative. Digging deeper, the lines between fact and folklore begin to blur. The treasures and traps of the garden shaft excavation resumes at a depth of 99 feet, where Terry Ma and Roger Foran note minimal storm damage. They continue to work on the garden shaft, an old structure, hoping to uncover a tunnel leading to the so-called Baby Blob, a site believed to contain valuable metals. Later, in a video chat in the war room, discussions between archaeologists and astronomers revolve around Nolan's cross and its alignment with stars. Adriano P's bold interpretations offer a fascinating, though not fully convincing, connection between the island's stone structures and the stars. There was certainly a will to their enterprise, not only the searchers but the original depositors as well, dating the stone heaps on Lot 15 to around 1250 AD. Through layers of speculation and occasional discoveries, the team's pursuit on Oak Island continues, each episode adding to the complex narrative of their search. The viewers, like the team, are left to ponder how much of the treasure is buried under their feet and how much is in the dramatic retelling of their quest. Rick, Lagina, is clearly excited as he goes through a report by Gaspin in the war room. According to this report, the stone heaps on Lot 15 and Nolan's cross were likely built by the same people nearly 800 years ago. Gaspin PNY points out their astronomical alignments and suggests that these formations are not just random but have significant historical importance. He speculates that the Templars, known for their knowledge in astronomy and geometry, could be behind this, as Gaspin discusses the intriguing astronomical knowledge that might have influenced the building of these stone formations. Rick emphasizes the importance of understanding these structures more deeply. He is involved in a new drilling operation near the garden shaft overseen by Charles Farrow and Terry Matt. This site has been buzzing with activity, revealing artifacts and wooden timbers, some of which, identified in 2019, were traced back to Europe. The excitement on the island grows with findings from recent water tests that show traces of gold and silver below 150 feet. This has spurred the team to search for any human-made structures and the source of these metals. One can picture the team covered in mud as they pull out unusual artifacts and old timbers, that hint at historical activities on the island. Meanwhile, Gary Drayton and Jack Begley are exploring the stone caves on Lot 15, where Professor Gaspin has suggested might date back to the 13th century. This claim is somewhat supported by the discovery of a late artifact from the medieval period. They plan to take this artifact to the laboratory for further examination. Elsewhere on the island, Scott Barrow and Roger Fort